Hello, welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the Pokemon that only want to move away from being meta. And today we're going to have a special episode that is completely targeted towards the move updates of Season 20. What I mean with this one, we're only going to take a look at Pokemon that would benefit if they get a move that got buffed this season. And we have 10 different ones. And so it took quite a lot of time for me to actually make this video because I had to research a ton of stuff, so I would really appreciate if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe. Would really appreciate this here for sure. And we can take a look at some Pokemon that you really want to keep for the future because they might get a buff. And so let's move on with number 1. Bibarel. Bibarel is going to be a very cool Pokemon again here as well for today. We're going to have like every single move that got buffed here is only going to be there once. I could have basically put on, for example, Rollout and to a ton of Pokemon to buff it, but Bibarel was like one of those that really looked balanced while being really cool and unique and helped meta in terms of being able to beat Clodsire, as well as having access to like something like just Hyper Fang coverage, just like neutral one there. You're going to be able to beat something like the Feraligatr. And so, yeah, Clodsire Feraligatr Core Breaker is really cool. They're going to be gonna get Core Break by this Pokemon as well, which is going to be really nice for it. Well, of course, you're still going to have some weaknesses to like Fighting type Pokemon, Grass type Pokemon. It's not that this Pokemon is going to be like unbeatable or anything like this, like not even close, but it's going to be very good to break up the current meta, which I feel like would be really good for it. So Rollout Bibarel is going to be the number 1 spot here on the list, which I feel like a lot of people most likely going to agree with as well. Number 2 might be a bit of a very strong update, but we're going to have Flygon here. Flygon having access currently to Dragon Tail, Dragon Claw, and Scorching Sands. There's like one Pokemon right now that's really good in the current meta, which is the Kanto Marowak. I kind of want to mimic something similar with this Pokemon here, as we're going to give this one Mud Slap. Mud Slap is available for this thing. And to be fair, it looks really balanced here. Like, it looks really balanced while definitely gaining way more victories than before, which I feel like is kind of the purpose of the video anyway, right? So yeah, you're going to be able to beat Pokemon now like, I don't know, a Malamar, like a Carbink, like a Diggersby. And you have a lot of potential, especially in the 2-shit scenario, having access to the move Dragon Claw being very cheap, compared to like Bone Club, which is even better. Bone Club is better than Dragon Claw. And then we're going to have Scorching Sands as an option here, as well as coverage, which is really cool, but also potentially for certain meta Stone Edge would allow you to hit flying type Pokemon with a Mud Slap user. Stuff like this I could really see happening here, and I feel like it would be actually a balanced pick here to have Shadow Flygon with a Mud Slap. Next Pokemon, we're going to take a look at another move that got buffed this season and got thrown onto a ton of Pokemon the last season as well. Which one is going to be here? We're going to have Noctowl with Wing Attack, Sky Attack, and Nightshade. Nightshade already got buffed, but already this Pokemon learns this move. So what could we give this Pokemon to help it out? What is the big issue of Noctowl? It's the pacing. After Wing Attack got nerfed, after Sky Attack got nerfed, the pacing is really horrible for Noctowl. Like, as the Wing Attack only generates now, what, 7.5 energy per usage or something like this. The pacing is just taking way too long for Noctowl to get to any move. And so what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to give him a very cheap move. And one of them is Swift. This Pokemon learns Swift, and Swift would be really good for this Pokemon. There are other Pokemon like Pidgeot, which also would learn this move, which might be also an option for it. But as you're going to see here, there are quite a lot of new matchups that you're going to be able to win. You're going to be very solid in the meta with this Pokemon now, while not being broken, while definitely still having weaknesses. And that's all that kind of really matters here. We don't want to make like the most broken Pokemon ever. We want to make Pokemon that are one move away from being meta. Not completely like meta defining as well with that one. Like, there are some maybe that are going to be meta defining, which you're going to talk about as well, but this one just going to help this Pokemon to be relevant again. Relevant again would be something that Musharna definitely would like to hear as well, because it has never really been relevant. But yeah, we have to try to get this Pokemon relevant, and I don't think it's really here some big secret that the move that we're going to try to give this one, which is learned as well, is going to be Psywave. Psywave gonna boost this Pokemon from having 2 wins to 20 wins and 20 losses, being completely neutral, but being actually very good in the current meta as well, being a bulky Psychic type with Psywave and Psyshock as a good Psychic combination and Dazzling Gleam as a coverage move, while still maintaining very big weaknesses against Pokemon that are of course Dark type still, even though if Dazzling Gleam is not the best Fairy type move and it's not Stab, but also against any kind of Steel type Pokemon that completely hardwalls you, which kind of makes Pokemon quite balanced in that as well. And I still think Musharna would have some decent potential. very likely going to be just like a niche pick until it gets a better charge move than Dazzling Gleam as well. But yeah, getting up an average rating from over 230 is, or like over 220 is going to be very, very good for this thing. And so I feel like this is like one of the Pokemon where Psywave would make the most amount of sense on it. Trevenant. Nobody uses you anymore. Like literally no one uses Trevenant anymore, especially this season. Why is this the case? Pacing is not great, the meta is not great for it, a lot of Pokemon that can answer it, like Feraligatr, even Diggersby is going to be a tough matchup, like Pokemon that you're supposed to be countering. What move got recently buffed and would help this Pokemon out quite a bit? It is going to be the move Trailblaze. As you're going to see here, you're going to get 2 extra wins, it's going to allow you to guarantee boost yourself, which is kind of crazy with Shadow Claw on it as well. But I still feel like, at least in the current meta, this move would not really make this Pokemon broken whatsoever, as you can see as well with the stats. But while it doesn't even look that crazy on there, it definitely would make this Pokemon meta defining as well, like a Pokemon that you would see a lot of times. While you don't see it on the right side is the one-shield scenario. Two-shield scenario is going to be way better for it. If you have potential to farm on opponents, it's going to be way better for it. This Pokemon would have a lot of potential for sure if Trailblaze would get added. Initially, you do a little bit less damage compared to Seed Bomb, but you're going to be able to boost your own attack, which is way, way more worth it for that as well, and has the same pacing as before, and so I feel like this would be a cool update for Trevenant for sure, while not making it broken, but making it very, very strong again. I just like this Pokemon, I want this Pokemon to be good. Shiftry, like if you played back in the day, Shiftry is like this one Pokemon that a lot of people really like to use because it was fast paced, it was very, very strong in terms of damage output, but it was also very squishy. It kind of just got outdated, like other Pokemon just creeped up in power, making this Pokemon a little bit less usable. Which does not mean that it's unusable, especially if you're going to consider the potential of Sucker Punch on it. Sucker Punch would make this Pokemon instantaneously a meta threat for any kind of one here as well, like literally being able to destroy Malamar now, being able to destroy a lot of opponents with it, because you also have great pacing. The pacing of Sucker Punch plus Leaf Blade is ridiculous. You have 2 very hard-hitting moves that are both stab, they are both going to be able to, get a ton of damage onto the opponents. Like Stab Sucker Punch from a Shiftry is definitely not something to joke about, and so this Pokemon would be definitely a destroyer for a lot of metas right now, but also, again, you're gonna be able to not really withstand like those counter users or those charm users, or generally speaking, there are a lot of weaknesses to the typing of Shiftry, like a double type weakness of bug type moves like Fury Cutter or something like this. So Shiftry definitely would benefit quite a bit from Sucker Punch, while again, especially through stats and typing, it would not be broken whatsoever. Take a look now at the next Pokemon here. We're going to take a look at Muk, and what move got buffed, which Muk would be able to learn. It is the only Pokemon that can learn it that doesn't have it right now, other than Marshadow. Marshadow would also learn this move, but we're gonna take a look here mainly at, like, basically only at the Great League. It can learn the move Shadow Punch. Of course, it doesn't make this Pokemon like crazy overpowered with it, but definitely gonna give it a way more play and also way more coverage. You have now a Pokemon that has Poison Jab for like stab coverage, you have Shadow Punch as like a cheap move, and then you have the Thunder Punch as like a bait move or something, like not a bait move, it's a coverage move of course for the current meta, allowing you to actually have a lot of potential, especially when you can farm down opponents, because you have like such a versatile moveset. You basically can hit everything in the meta that is not Diggersby. Diggersby is going to be a no-no for you. The other options as well, you can go for Acid Spray on this Pokemon, you can go for Dark Pulse on this Pokemon, you can go for Gang Shot on this Pokemon. There are a lot of options for Muk. I would like to see another move like put onto this Pokemon as well to maybe give you coverage against ground types. I think that would be really cool for it. But other than this Pokemon would be definitely benefiting quite a bit from Shadow Punch. Shadow Punch is going to be a move that this Pokemon can learn, and basically none other. I don't know why this thing can learn Shadow Punch, but a lot of other Pokemon cannot. I don't know. Like Shadow Punch is very, very rare in the main CS games, but this is one of the Pokemon that can do it. So wonder why, but we can move on to the next one. This is basically a Pokemon that I have been putting in nearly all of those videos. Not because I really think it's going to happen for like the last few times. Last few times I had this in here with Incinerate, which was putting this Pokemon into like top tier territory, like literally S tier pick. But because you have the greatest moveset kind of in terms of the charge moves of Wild Charge, Psychic Fangs, that is an amazing charge moveset, like literally giving you amazing coverage and having hard hitting moves and moves that debuff the opponents. you just don't have a great fast move on this Pokemon. And this is the big issue. And one move that got buffed this season, which is a fast move, which is a fire type fast move, is Fire Spin. And Fire Spin is all it needs to be meta. Like literally all it needs. Average rating climbs up by nearly 100. Wins climb up by 4 as well here. And it is not going to be broken at all with this move, which I feel like is a bit more manageable than Incinerate. Incinerate would make this Pokemon absolutely wild. Like literally by far best fire type, no doubt about it. But Fire Spin makes it definitely a little bit more balanced, which I feel like is okay. And so I feel like this would be a cool update for this Pokemon for sure. And yeah, recently buffed Fire Spin would make a lot of sense on this one. Next one is going to be Electrivire. You might not expect to see this one in the Great League. And what move can this one learn? Spoiler alert, it's also a move that can Magma learn right now, and Magma has it already the entire time, and it's Karate Chop. Karate Chop is a fast move that only, again, a few amount of Pokemon can really learn. There's still Hawlucha, I think, that can learn it, which will never get it because it would be way too broken, which actually I have one Hawlucha at least. And there's also another Pokemon, which is Sork, and I don't think that they're going to make Sork very good because Sork is a regional Pokemon, and so kind of Electrivire is the only one that really can get it again and can benefit from this fast move. And as you're gonna see here, there's a lot of potential for this Pokemon, even in the Great League, as like a very squishy sweeper, and I really like this. Karate Chop is a straight upgrade over Thunder Shock, and that all really matters. And so we can now move on to the final Pokemon for today's video. And it's going to be Golbat, and I feel like it's kind of an obvious one which we're going to have here. It's a move that again kind of got buffed this season, and it's going to be Poison Sting. Like the amount of times Zubat was using Poison Sting against me in the earlier generations makes it questionable that it doesn't learn this move already at this point. But Poison Sting going to make this Pokemon again kind of decent while not being overpowered, and this is all we kind of want. As yeah, Golbat definitely would benefit quite a bit. Poison Fang going to allow you to debuff the opponents. Poison Sting got buffed in terms of damage output, which really helps out especially Golbat right now, and Shadow Ball is going to be great coverage. And so again, this Pokemon would be very much fun, and again it would be at least a flying type Pokemon, while you're not really having flying type coverage here right now, that has some potential in the meta, and I would love to see this. And that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you want to see a part 2, then let me know that down in the description. In the description, my always description is the comment section, of course, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.